And so today we're going to learn about diagnosing learning and performance problems. When I mean performance problems, is not like, can you jump this high? But it's more like in the classroom kind of performance. So let's get started. These are my sources. They're getting tinier and tinier because there's so many. All right. We're going to have an activity, 45 seconds only. I know you guys can do it. Name as many learning disabilities or learning difficulties that your future students may have been diagnosed with or may be facing. You don't have to write incomplete sentences. You can just shoot out names of learning disability and we'll go from there. That way I can see your understanding of learning disabilities. All right, we're going to get started. 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Gabby, are you feeling okay? You have a headache or something?
No, I was trying to remember something that I couldn't remember. I was like,
Feeling sick. I know you're sick. If you're feeling sick, just say, Professor, I gotta go. Like, go. All right. All right, Marty. Marty started with dyslexia, ADHD, speech problems. Awesome. Dyslexia is always my first thing when I think about learning disability. Good answer. Gabby, let's go listen to Gab.
I remember from our class that we had last semester, learning disabilities can range anywhere from students with glasses, I believe, students who are deaf, students who have like ADHD, or students who have, what was it? I think it was like students who have anger management, I think. I'm not too sure about that one though. But yeah, that's what I remember.
All right. I'm so glad you remember that stuff, but very good. Good job. All right. Lupe, dyslexia, ADHD. You guys are awesome. All right. You can see I'm kind of going kind of fast because, I don't want to let you guys stay too long. That would be kind of a punishment, staying long in assessments. Yeah, that's an exciting day. All right. Diagnosing learning and performance problems. Learning disabilities are due to genetic and or neurobiological factors that alter the brain functioning in a manner that affects one or more cognitive processes related to learning. So, like Marty said, speech problems, yes, that's also genetic and neurobiological. There's some connections there that don't quite help the student speak, even the stuttering part. And that doesn't mean it's a death, it's a forever thing. My brother went through stuttering. It's just a matter of, you know what we said about brain before, it's you can mold it, you can teach it, reteach it again. So that's what happens to people with strokes too. So yeah, awesome answers. All right. Let me know if you can't hear anything. Go in the chat. Okay.
Welcome back. For most kids, the new school year is about to begin. As we get back into our routines, now's the time for parents to look for the warning signs of a learning disability like dyslexia. And joining us tonight is Dr. Elizabeth Schnobrick, a psychologist with Learning Center at Groves Academy in St. Louis Park, and she specializes in teaching children with learning disabilities. Dr. Schnobrick, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And this is an important topic, especially this time of year. And let's just kind of start with talking about what dyslexia is. I think a lot of us just think it's a reading problem, but it's not that simple, right?
No, it's very common. A lot of people have a misunderstanding of what dyslexia is, and we're beginning to realize that upwards of 20% of our population actually has reading difficulties like dyslexia. Dyslexia is more than just reversal of letters such as B and D. It's a language problem. People with dyslexia have difficulty understanding and learning and manipulate what we call speech sounds. It's called phonetic awareness. And there's a lot of labels and shame involved with dyslexia, as calling children lazy or unintelligent or even slow learners.
And talk about some of those warning signs, doctor. They can actually pop up, as early as your kids start talking, right?
Absolutely. One of the warning signs is slow talking, being late to talk, as well as mispronouncing certain sounds and syllables, such as saying biscotti instead of spaghetti, or saying things like animal instead of animal. And then as children go into the classroom, some other warning signs are difficulties with understanding their letters or letter sounds. They may have a hard time recalling certain words. So instead of saying table, they might say, the place where we eat. As they continue in their academic career, you want to look for reading fluency, like how smooth can they read? Are they still choppy? Are they sounding out every word and syllable? Do they have a hard time with spelling? How is their overall academic performance?
And why is it so common for a lot of these cases to go undiagnosed for kids?
That's a really good question. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of the misunderstanding is part of the problem. People think that it's something wrong with the child. It's a cognitive problem. But like I mentioned, it's actually a language problem. Kids with dyslexia are actually very intelligent. They have amazing gifts and strengths that get missed because they're so bogged down with some of their reading difficulties. They actually find ways to hide and cope. They use different strategies, such as they might look for cues in pictures, they might memorize words. And a lot of our schools don't teach phonetic-based reading. So some of those warning signs we talked about get missed.
So I know you're here partly to encourage parents, maybe perhaps who want more information, to take your kid in for an assessment, or talk about what an assessment really entails and how folks can get answers.
Absolutely. So at Groves Academy, we do a very comprehensive assessment procedure. We take each child that comes in as an individual. We look at their unique struggles and their unique difficulties, and then we try to really come up with some answers for the family. We look at the whole picture. We also look for things like anxiety or ADHD, other learning disorders that also can cause difficulties with that academic success. We spend around 4 to 5 hours with each child with a break for lunch. And when we're done, we write up a full written report that we give to the parents that has specific recommendations, not just for the parents, but also for the schools to help provide some academic success for that child.
And bottom line, why is it so important to have an early diagnosis?
Well, what we found is information is power, which is what I tell all of my families, is once we understand a child's unique learning profile, we can help to create that path to success. We can give them tools and resources, and we can create a program that helps them feel better in their school setting. The earlier we diagnose, the easier it is to remediate. We diagnose children as young as early elementary school.
Wow. Well, it's a very important topic. Thank you, Dr. Schnobrick, for being here to talk to us about it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And for more information on...
All right. So, hopefully you learned some of the warning signs. As a teacher, you will like to kind of look for slow talking, mispronouncing. I remember my second son, instead of saying hospital, he would say Huxtable. It's just stuff like that. The reading is choppy. It's not flowing. It will be like kind of almost like robotic kind of thing. So yeah, you need a comprehensive assessment, and she's right, it's about 4 to 5 hours, which is kind of draining. So, you give the student a break, but still, you basically, it's the teacher that always kind of see if there's a learning disability there, and then order a comprehensive exam with a school psychologist. If you're the school psychologist, you'll have all kinds of exams or assessments that you will administer to the student. All right. Again, some of the symptoms of learning disorders. Difficulty telling right from left, reversing letters, words, or numbers after first or second grade. Difficulties recognizing patterns. Difficulty understanding and following instructions or staying organized. Difficulty remembering what was just said. That's kind of my problem. Lacking coordination when moving around. Difficulty doing tasks with hands like writing, cutting, or drawing. Yeah, holding the scissors. You know, at a certain age, you should be able to hold the scissors and cut things. And so the kindergarten teachers are so keen to this. They could see which student can handle scissors, which are holding the pens wrong and can't get it quite right. Difficulty understanding concept of time. So any questions so far? I am so jealous of Lupe because she's eating a good bagel. Oh, makes me hungry. All right. All right. In many cases, again, bullseye. In many cases, it is the teacher who first suspects that the child may have a specific learning difficulty or disability. Teachers are able to compare a child's work and behavior to that of his or her peers, and can often spot a child who is experiencing learning disabilities or difficulties before the parents even notice. And that's the thing. Parents think their children are the best. You know, their children are the smartest, which is understandable. It's their baby, it's their kid. And so they would not notice that, you know, hey, that's a sign of learning difficulty unless the parent is a school psychologist. You know, you wouldn't really pick that up. You just think, oh, you know, yeah, that's my kid. He's so cute, you know? So yeah, sometimes parents are the ones who are oblivious of the learning disabilities. Okay, what do you think a diagnostic assessment look like? Don't worry about complete sentences. Just use the 30 seconds to kind of get where you are as far as diagnostic assessment. I think you guys have an idea anyway, so. All right. I'm gonna start from Lupe. I gotta, you know, live it up a little. There's only 3 of you. All right. Okay. Complete. Oh, go ahead, Lupe. I'm sorry.
I just put, they probably have them like complete small tasks or like repeat complex words.
Perfect. Yeah, you are right there. All right. Let's listen to Gabby.
I'm not too sure what it looks like, but I think it might be like a one-on-one with like a specialist that knows if students do like a certain thing that they have like this disability or something like that. That's what I think it looks like, at least.
Perfect. Yeah, a lot of it is one-on-one. Yeah. Marty.
I wasn't sure. I just wrote test to see what like the student knows.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah, you guys are all right. Yeah, pretty much one-on-one is a test. You kind of want to know what the student knows or not know at a certain grade level. Yeah, one-on-one, perfect. All right.
The term diagnostic assessment is used to describe a number of assessment tools designed to gather information on students' previous knowledge of the subject, but also to determine what learning issues students might have. As with all forms of assessment, data from diagnostic assessment should be used by teachers to shape instruction as the needs, strengths, and weaknesses of students are taken into account. It can affect how an entire curriculum is delivered to an entire class, or it can focus on the needs of only some of the students.
All right. Oh,
There are various forms of diagnostic assessment. Some familiar ones are the published standardized tests that are common in classrooms today. These can be pencil and paper tests, they can be computer-based, or they can include one-on-one verbal interactions with the students.
see, you guys are all right. All right. Yeah, he had a long pause there. I'm not used to having long pause spokespeople because, I just like, "Psh, you're done. All right. Next. All right. I know I'm digging more into what you guys know, and I want you guys more to engage. There's only 3 of you. Love the glasses, Lupe. I just love it. All right. What do you oh, this is fun. All right. All right, Marty, I'm missing an answer from you. But that's okay.
I answered A. I didn't know I had to put
Oh,
submit. So then I went to click it again. I was like, why is it not going through? And so I think it took off my answer because I was
That's
like,
okay.
I looked at it and I was like, who hasn't gone yet? It was me.
that's
You didn't get
okay. I'm not assessing you. All right, you guys are right on. So let's see what this guy has to say.
The major focus of much of diagnostic testing is on language and math skills, and this is not unusual considering the general focus on those subjects today. But I think it's also significant because language and math skills are process-oriented as opposed to subject-oriented. Development in language skills is the foundation for all other learning. Development in math is important because math is taught and learned sequentially. And steps that go unlearned or insufficiently learned can cause difficulties in learning other elements of math down the line.
I think that's why a lot of people don't like math. It's because if you didn't understand the previous lesson, it's hard to succeed in the next lesson. It's like, okay, I hate fractions, but now I have to do this. So yeah, and then language, again, it's process oriented. It's language, of course, is the foundation of everything. So yeah, those 2, language and math. All right, what kind of data do we get from standardized diagnostic assessments? All right. So you guys notice I'm just kind of getting what your background information is, where you're coming from, kind of getting that prerequisite knowledge. So, all right. Gabby has always been second, so I'm gonna have her do first right now. All right, you better be ready, Gabby. I'm gonna let you speak. Okay, like right now.
I believe from like standardized diagnostic assessments, we get like where a student is at academically and like where they need improvement, I think. I'm not too sure.
Good. That's so awesome. All right. All right, let's go with Marty.
I didn't get to finish because my computer froze. But I didn't know what I was trying to say or how to word it, but I was basically trying to say like what the child, I feel like I'm repeating myself because a lot of these answers seem the same, but like I guess like what the child knows and where, like what Gabby said, where they need to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it sounds repetitive. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but this one is data, like what data we're getting from standardized. And I totally get it. You guys are right. So let's see what Lupe has to say, since she already wore those glasses. And so I know that she'll have like a totally different vision.
I was trying to type that it informs us if the general knowledge being learned, I think I was gonna say, is known by the child. But I remember from the homework also that it said that data can show like if the teaching style is being effective or not towards the children.
Yep, exactly. You're correct. All of you guys are correct. And yes, I kind of like it that you sort of like look back at the other stuff that you learned. So that's good. All right. You guys are awesome. Let's see what this guy has to say. I tell you, this guy.
What kind of data do we get from diagnostic testing? Well, published standardized tests tend to break the subjects down into skill-related subsets and then give data on how a student performs in each one of them. Data will be provided on how an individual student's performance matches with his or her classmates, or with other students who have taken the test both within the same school or in other schools, including all other students who have taken the test. The data may also be sorted into other categories, such as these, giving these that were listed here, raw scores, progress indicators, scaled scores, etc. And this gives the teacher the ability to examine the data from different statistical points of view.
All right. So yeah, you guys are all good. It's gathering data of what the student knows, but also it is comparing that with other students just to see where he's at. Is Johnny here compared to the other third graders that are here? What do we do about that? Or is Johnny way over here compared to the third graders here? That's also another learning exceptionality, right? That's gifted. So it's gathering all those data, comparing it with other students within the classroom, and also comparing it with other students within the district, and then outside the district, and then national. So yeah, it's just gathering data and comparing. And also to have the intervention strategy. All right. Diagnostic assessments comes in these forms or formats. It is like a poll, so that's good. You guys are awesome. Good job. Let's see if this guy agrees. All right.
Some other forms of diagnostic assessment may include computer-based programs that provide questions based upon the pattern of a student's responses. For example, an incorrect answer will result in another similar kind of question at the same level, whereas a correct answer will result in a more challenging question. This kind of test will give a highly individualized assessment, and which may be useful in seeing how one particular student is doing, but is not useful in comparing that one student to everyone else, since everyone else is pretty much taking different tests. There's also one-on-one verbal diagnostic assessments, which may be useful in that they measure things that a written test cannot, such as verbal responses, use of language, the mood of the student, or even the thinking processes a student uses in responding. What does diagnostic assessment measure and what doesn't it measure? Well, diagnostic assessment, properly understood, will indicate areas where the students have strengths and weaknesses. It does not indicate the underlying causes of the weakness, such as physical, mental, emotional, linguistic, or cognitive problems. And these are best analyzed by other forms of assessment.
All right, so you guys got it right on. It's computerized. There's one-on-one verbal. It determines the strength and weaknesses. But yes, you don't know the cause of that. It could be just a temporary thing because the student is going through a stressful moment in their family. So, but yeah, any questions on that? You guys are too awesome. All right. All right, what do you think happens after a teacher gets the results of the diagnostic assessment? I don't know why I'm waiting. You guys got it all right, but okay. Yay, good job, guys. Let's see if this guy agrees.
How does diagnostic assessment influence instruction? Initial diagnostic assessment can provide the teacher a baseline of performance by students and by the class as a whole. Subsequent testing may show any change in performance. Depending on the data, the teacher will need to tailor instruction to meet the needs of students with difficulties, or perhaps even reshape it for the entire class. Some strategies for individuals can include pairing with stronger students, pull-out sessions, more individualized attention, and in more severe cases, IEPs or special education intervention.
All right, so yeah, the teacher gets the results and supposed to adjust instruction. A lot of students ask, how do you adjust that instructions? It depends on the grade level. What I always do, what I used to do a lot is to, like he said, you pair a really quiet student with somebody who's so assertive. They're good together, you know, opposites attract. You pair, or you can put all the students in the same level in one table. And so when they do group work, you spend more time at that table. Students don't know that. You're walking around, but they don't know that you're spending more time on that table because they need more help. So that kind of adjustment. Or if it's really in the special education side, you just do a report and have additional assessment to see if the student needs a special education classroom or if the student still needs to stay in the classroom. So things like that. All right, choose the best answer. The limitations of diagnostic assessments include
Professor,
yes.
I need to take a bathroom break.
Okay. Leave your computer or phone here. All right, you guys got it right. I mean, you guys are so smart. I'm just like so amazed. Okay. Amazing, guys. Amazing. All right. You know, it used to not let me do this, but now it just.
There's some limits that have come up in looking at diagnostic assessment as it's been used over the years. The use of diagnostic assessment tools necessarily has led to some kind of focus on their limitations. There has been some concern about the reliability and validity of some tests. For example, there are the questions of, are they testing what has been taught? Do they provide enough questions and the right kind of questions to provide a large enough sample of responses needed for meaningful results? Some tests have been criticized as providing lots of data, but no suggested plan forward that teachers can use to remedy the problems. Some results can be skewed by the stress of test taking or by not being able to tell that a student knows the material but just works more slowly, or by students simply not taking the test seriously. And some tests have been criticized for not taking into account the diversity of cultural issues and learning styles in the classrooms. So in conclusion, what would be the best use of diagnostic assessment? I think diagnostic assessment is a useful tool for getting a snapshot of the abilities of students so that a teacher may better know how to work with them. I think it can be very useful in getting more attention and intervention to those who need it. But I do not think that the results of diagnostic assessment should be considered alone, but rather in the context of the ongoing assessment that teachers and other educational professionals perform as they interact with their students.
All right. So yeah, it is not it's not like it's gonna fix everything. It's just a tool, and it'll kind of guide you as an educator to kind of help that student. But it's not like 100% perfect. So just to let you know that, and that's something you also need to let the parents know, that these are tools. These are not like the Bible and said, this is it. Your child has this and you have to live with it. No, it's a tool so that we can work together, parents and teachers, to help the student succeed. All right, here's a scenario. It's okay, Lupe. I didn't want to interrupt you in there. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Let's start with Marty. Marty, you are doing good. I know you had some internet problems, so I'm so glad you're able to join. Okay.
I wrote, I feel they're probably worried and unsure how to go forward with the new information they're receiving.
You're correct. Perfect.
I think maybe before the meeting, Emily's parents might feel a little bit nervous. During the meeting, they might be confused. And after the meeting, they might feel like they need like direction and where to go.
Yep. Or they could be in denial and they could just like be that Barnes and Noble customer and yell at you, you know? You never know the kind of reaction you're going to get from the parents. You got to remember, these are the mama bears, you know, their cubs are perfect. So, Lupe, I know you missed, that's okay. We're just kind of talking about like, how would the parents feel after getting a diagnostic assessment report from the teacher. You never know how they're going to react. But I don't know if you guys cover this in your other classes. Elizabeth, did you guys cover this? The stages of grief? Yeah? All right. So yeah, you go through all kinds of emotions. Kind of like a grief, like when you're mourning for people, when people died or something traumatic happens. Parents go through this with their children. They go through anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, denial, any order. So you never know, there could be anger there, first thing that you'll see from the parent. Just know, don't take it personally, because I've done that. I've taken things personally. There could be like a total acceptance, but then like months later, there's anger. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's in our bullseye.
Hello. Hello, Ms. Rogers. This is Emma's special education teacher, Danielle Adams. Do you have a moment to talk? I'm leaving soon to go pick Emma up at school, but I have a minute. Is there a problem? Well, I just wanted to talk to you for a moment about Emma. She is having difficulty in her classes. Often she has a hard time paying attention, especially when she's sitting close to her friends. And also, she oftentimes doesn't take notes during class. So I'm concerned she's not picking up the new material. And she's missing quite a few assignments. I remember we talked about that during conferences. You suggested that I check her planner often. I have been checking it, but she doesn't always write everything down, so I'm not sure what she's missing. Would it help if I sent you a list of her assignments? I've been talking to her teachers, and I'm happy to email something to you. That might help. Great. And I'm also wondering, is there anything you would suggest to help Emma focus? Anything that works well at home? What exactly do you mean by focus? Well, like I said, oftentimes Emma is off task. She might be talking to her friends or doing something unrelated to the lesson. Well, she is distracted by a zillion different things at home. Speaking of which, I do need to get going to pick up Emma at school or I'm going to be late. Oh, sure, of course. Thanks for chatting. Maybe we can talk more when you have more time? Yes, definitely. Thank you for keeping me in the loop. Let's keep in touch.
All right. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, we kind of have a lot of opinions there. All right. I want to know what you guys observe about this mom. All right. So you only have 45 seconds, but let's go see what. I want to know what you guys have in mind. All right. I am curious. Marty, you had, oh, Marty just got here. I thought like you got frozen or something. All right. Well, I'm going to live it up a little. Got to enjoy life a little and start again from a different order. Bottom. Number 3. Okay. Go ahead, Lupe.
I just feel like she wasn't as concerned as she should be.
All right. Yeah, I could see that. Do you guys see that too? She's not as concerned. Okay. All right. Gabby?
The mom kind of looked like she didn't want to talk about the subject, like she was trying to like avoid it. She just looked like a little bit uneasy and such like that. And then she like kind of just avoided it altogether by saying that she needs to go pick up her daughter from school.
Yep. Avoidance, not caring. What do you think that is? Okay. All right, Marty.
So I think she not worried, but I think she cared, but I don't think she was really taking it serious. Like it's kind of like it's not possible that her child has a disability or her child is struggling. So that's how I saw it.
Yeah. So all that, it's like almost denial, right? Like the stage of grief, denial. You're denying. You probably already know because you already had conferences with the teacher, but she's still in denial. And that's why she's kind of brushing her off like, I gotta go. So yeah, you guys are right. Yeah. All right. Gets more interesting.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Rogers. This is Lisa Coleman, Emma's math teacher.
Oh, hi. Call me Kathy.
Is now a good time to talk?
Sure, I have a few minutes.
Great. Well, I'm just calling because we've been talking a lot with Miss Adams, Emma's special education teacher, and we've been discussing some of her difficulties in math class. I know that she called you last week, and I just wanted to touch base with you also.
Yeah, okay.
Great. Did you receive the list of missing assignments for Emma?
You know, I did. I've been so busy. I just haven't had a chance to look at them yet.
No problem. I just wanted you to be aware of what Emma is missing in my class. I'm just curious, are there any strategies you use to help Emma do what she's asked?
Are you referring to her trouble focusing?
Right. Are there strategies you use to help Emma stay focused, to help her stay on task?
I'm not sure if this is just what you're looking for, but Emma is usually pretty good about helping out around the house. She'll help with laundry, dishes, things like that. She really likes to be a helper. But sometimes Emma spends way too much time on the computer and just kind of leaves the world behind and forgets about things.
Frustrating. But it also sounds like she likes to help out and do well.
Yes, definitely. So I try to limit her computer time, no more than 20 or 30 minutes at a time. I also really encourage her whenever she helps me out around the house.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how this would help with schoolwork.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it some more. Emma is overall a really positive student, and I know that she feels badly about not doing well in my class. The other day, Miss Adams talked to her about some possible accommodations that she could make. And you know what? With her reading and overall performance in her subjects, she seems pretty open to it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
The point is to find something, some tool or strategy which will help Emma improve. I really want to help your daughter succeed.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to hear you say that.
Oh, good. And thank you so much for your time.
All right. Pretty interesting. All right. Reflect on that short video and identify some strategies that the teacher used to communicate to the parent. By the way, I want to invite Emma in my home because she can do my laundry anytime. So just my least favorite chore is laundry. Yeah. Woo! All right. Let us start with Marty.
I just said that the teacher asked about the home life and showed that she was willing to work with the mom to find ways to get, I think the daughter's name was Emma, to focus.
Yep, that's awesome. Yep, you're right. She asked about something that she can relate to, like a common ground. All right,
I feel like the
Gabby.
teacher was really good at communicating with the mom. She asked her a lot of questions. She made sure that she didn't touch on any touchy subjects that the mom would just avoid. But yeah, the teacher did really good on her part to communicate with the mom.
That's awesome. Yeah, she highlighted the good stuff, right? Like Emma's this and that, and she's just happy. And she's smiling, right? She's smiling because when you smile on the phone, the parent will feel that. I always do. It's like, hi, Mrs. It's just always good to smile. All right. All right, Lupe.
She was very understanding of the parents' time, and she was patient with her, and then she asked her things that she does a lot at home to maybe try to help and incorporate them into the classroom.
Yeah. Understanding is a key word too over there, because she's trying to understand where the kid is coming from. She's trying to understand where the parent is coming from. And it's weird because this teacher, she's just so conversational with it. And do you see how the parent reacted? She's more in she got more positive, right? Not as abrupt and avoiding the situation. So that's always good. And she probably called at the time that, they don't have to pick up the kids yet. So always pick a time to call the parent when they're not rushed to pick up the kids, or, I know it's hard because you're teaching and then you got to grade papers at the end of the day and all kinds of stuff. You got playground monitoring schedule. All right. Yeah. It's just all coming back to me. All right.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Danielle. How are you doing? Good. Good. So I know you have a lot on your plate, but I'm wondering if you have a minute to talk about Emma. I'm a little worried about her.
Oh, yeah. I have to leave pretty soon, but we can talk for a few minutes.
Okay, great.
Come on in. Have a seat.
Thank you. So I'm pretty certain Emma knows and understands the material being taught in her classes, but I think she's having a hard time showing it. I know she's struggling, especially in reading, and she's missing quite a few assignments. Is this what you've been seeing as well?
Well, yeah, she's not doing so well in math either. I think it's because she's having a hard time focusing. And she's missing assignments in my class as well. But, I've got 5 other students just like her. It's really hard to keep her engaged and on track.
Right, of course, I understand. But we just want to make sure her needs are being met. So what do you think is the most difficult thing for Emma during class?
Well, if we could just get her to calm down and stay focused. But I'm having difficulty making that happen. Like, I'll spend an hour of class time explaining something important on the board and she'll have nothing in her notes.
Okay. And do you have any ideas about how we might help her?
Well, I've tried some different things, like giving her extra days on her assignments, but she's still late. And then if she does turn them in, they're incomplete. I'm just not sure if anything I'm doing is effective.
Well, I'd like to think about some more possibilities, and I'd love to get your input.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I have to go, but I'd love to send you an email about some strategies I've been thinking about for Emma.
Sure, that'd be great. Oh, and I'm going to call Emma's mother. I've seen her several times at parent-teacher conferences, and I'd like to include her in this conversation. And she might have something important to add.
Good, and we can talk later about this. In the meantime, I'll just keep thinking.
Okay, sounds good. So when's a good time?
Before school is best. After school, I've got track, so I'm always busy then.
How about Monday?
Works for me, yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, see you then.
Thank you.
Interesting. This is like a novella, right? This is like a soap opera. What's happening next? All right. All right. I'd like to get your observations about the video. All right. Oh, was that not a good enough time? I know, I'm sorry. I gotta get you I don't want to keep you on. All right. So that's okay, Gabby. You can improvise. All right, Marty.
I didn't really have time, but I just said that they took time to sit down and discuss ways to go about the situation and the information that they already know about the student. And
Yep, they're working together, which is an awesome thing. All right, Gabby, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, so I was saying that like the teachers actually sat down and they like discussed their concerns for their same student, and they're trying to like find a way to see if they can
like combat her like unfocusedness and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's so good. All right. Working together. All right. Go ahead, Lupe.
She made sure to ask when the best time was to talk, so the conversation doesn't have to be like cut short.
Yeah, yeah, because they need that extra time to really just collaborate, right? You can't just like drop in and, hey, let's work out a plan. No, it just takes time, and it's building relationships within the school, because you know, if you're a math teacher, you think differently than the language arts teacher. So you guys have to kind of work together. There's different personalities and stuff like that, but just finding that common ground. Yeah.
So let's talk about some possible accommodations for Emma.
That sounds good, yeah.
Well, I met with her last week and she was telling me about her classes, including her math class.
Oh, good. What did she say?
Well, she said that math was difficult and she seems to be having trouble with her math textbook.
What do you mean?
Well, she didn't say exactly, but she hinted that the math text was difficult to read. And so I'm wondering if there are terms in the book that are challenging, especially for struggling readers.
Let me think. We just finished a unit on geometry. So terms like quadrilateral and circumference come to mind.
Math vocabulary like that might be difficult for a struggling student like Emma.
Yeah. Is this where an accommodation might come in?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm thinking if we use an audio recording of the math so she can listen to the text instead of read it, that might be helpful for her.
Do you think Emma would listen to the text?
I'm not sure, but she said she'd be willing to try.
Okay, well, if she wants to try, let's go ahead with it.
Great. So I think that there's an audio recording available of the 7th grade math text, and she could listen to it while she's on her computer. Do you think you could look into ordering it?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Great. And I have one other question. So the vocabulary you were talking about, like circumference and quadrilateral, do those appear on her math tests?
Sometimes, yeah. We have unit tests once a month that covers the material that we're working on. And then we also have weekly quizzes.
Okay. So I'm thinking it might be helpful to have someone read the questions aloud to her. That way Emma can show what she's been learning.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So, okay, we've talked about Emma's needs regarding her reading challenges. I think we should also talk about ways to keep her better focused and organized, ways to keep her better on track with her assignments.
Of course. So what do you think some options are?
Well, I would like to find a way for Emma to enjoy keeping better track of her work. Here's what I was thinking.
All right. It's a nice movie. Break it up in pieces. What are some observations from the video? I know I sound like a broken record. Broken record. All right. Okay. Let's start with Gabby. Oops. That was a sneak preview of Marty's. Okay.
I like how the teachers were actually like coming up with a plan, not just being like, oh, well, she's just a bad student. And they're actually like finding ways that can accommodate her. And like they actually like hear what she's saying and not just like assume like, oh, like she just can't focus.
That's right. They're working together. They're accommodating the student. And that's what equity is, right? Okay, let's go to Marty.
I said again, they're working together to help their student. They also discuss options with her just to know, like, just to find out like what would work better with her, what she's willing to do. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep, they're working out. What are the options? That's always a good thing to talk about. Let's go to Lupe.
I just like how they're collaborating to do what's best for the child, and they're using the same method in each class, which can be helpful for her, like the consistency.
Yep. Collaboration is the key. All right.
Hey, Lisa. Hi, Danielle. How you doing?
Good.
Is this still a good time?
Yes, I've got a few minutes.
Okay, great. So I got your email. Thanks
Good.
for getting back to me about Emma.
Sure.
And it sounds like you have a lot of ideas about how to help her focus during math class, and you've already tried a lot of them out. I am so impressed.
Yeah, I have. I'm just not sure if any of them have worked.
Well, we may want to still think about some new accommodation ideas to help her.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if an accommodation's a good idea in class or on a test.
What makes you say that?
Well, Emma's in 7th grade. She just needs to learn to control her own behavior. I mean, no one's going to go easy on her when she gets to high school.
Well, that's true. And we don't want her to be prevented from taking responsibility from her actions now either. But accommodations don't make things easier for students. They make things fair.
But how is it fair for the other students when she's getting the advantages?
Well, don't think of accommodations as advantages. Think of them as leveling the playing field. They provide tools that are helpful for some students and not for others. I mean, take a kid who wears glasses, for example. The content on the board he's learning isn't easier because he has glasses, but without the glasses, seeing the content, accessing the content is impossible. Giving glasses to a student that has perfect vision doesn't make a difference to that student. So this is an example of an appropriate accommodation. It allows a student to access the information so their disability doesn't get in the way.
Okay, yeah. But in Emma's case, she's so far behind on her assignments. And, you know, how would an accommodation help that? She's got such poor note-taking skills.
Right. Well, I think the root of her issues with poor note-taking and missing assignments is her difficulty with reading. I think an appropriate instructional accommodation would help her to understand the math content and prevent her reading disability from accessing the information and interfering with her learning in your class.
But isn't an accommodation just masking the problem? I mean, if her reading abilities are preventing her from understanding the math in my class, how is that my concern? Okay, sorry. I mean, what I really mean to say is, shouldn't she just be working on her reading skills?
Well, she's definitely working on her reading skills. I mean, I'm working with her in small groups, and also I'm doing one-on-one reading lessons with her. And there's a couple other special educators and I that are working specifically with Emma to develop her organizational skills to help her focus.
Okay, but again, if she's receiving this support, why does she need the accommodations?
Well, I think accommodations could help Emma in both the classroom and during testing. Because of her reading disability, Emma doesn't read at the same level as her peers. And this is getting in the way of her understanding in her other classes, including yours. So although her reading ability may improve through intensive interventions and support, it may take a long time, and we don't want her falling farther behind.
That's a good point. So in the future, though, if her reading skills and overall abilities improve, she may no longer need the accommodations?
Maybe. I mean, we'll need to continue to evaluate Emma's progress, and we'll also want to collect data to see if her classroom performance improves over time.
All right, well, I'm willing to try.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Man, that was a hard conversation. Yeah, I was like having a hard time. But I'd like to know what you guys have gotten from that video. I know it's only a short one. Sorry. All right, let's start with Lupe.
What I meant to say was, it doesn't matter if it's like different classes, the way they're helping her can be used to benefit both the classes.
Yeah, they're finding accommodations. Very good. Let's listen to
I
Gabby.
thought it was interesting with the math teacher kind of just came out of nowhere and was just like, well, other students aren't getting the same accommodation. And the English teacher was basically like, well, it's not like she's getting anything special. She's just getting like the equity she deserves, you know?
Yeah, she didn't quite understand that accommodation. She thinks it's masking the problem. What is it she said? Taking advantage or something like that. She didn't see it that way. All right, let's go to.
I thought it was interesting.
Oops, sorry. Whoops. All right, Marty.
I just put that the math teacher's response was kind of off-putting. It seemed like she wasn't willing to work with what the student actually needs. And I agree 100% with the other teacher that it's basically leveling the playing field and not giving her really an advantage. It's just making it so she's at the same or able to reach the same level as the other kids.
That's right. And I love the analogy of glasses, right? That always helps. So yeah, a lot of teachers don't understand this. And now, the understanding of accommodations, they think it's a special privilege or something, but no, it's necessary, or else what are you going to do? You can't have the kid just keep failing and failing, because then you start breaking the spirit, and the kid would feel like, oh, I'm nothing because of the constant failing. The kid doesn't understand. So, all right, quite interesting. Let's see what goes on.
Hey, Emma, how are you doing today?
Okay.
You having a pretty good day?
Pretty good.
Good. So before we start our lesson today, I wanted to talk to you for a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to say how impressed I am with everything you've learned this year. I'm really proud of you.
Hey.
You're really doing well, and I think you'll just continue to improve. What do you think?
Yeah.
Good. So today I want to talk to you about your classes to help you continue to improve. I need to know what is and is not helping you learn. Does that sound okay?
All right.
Great. So tell me about your best class.
I'm doing really well in gym and science.
Great. So tell me more about science. What's working well for you in that class?
I like to work on science projects, and I don't know, I guess I like to, I got an A in our last one, and it's fun to work on the computers.
Okay. And do you work in groups in that class?
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I like to talk with my friends.
Okay. So it sounds like you really like to work on the computer and you like to work with your friends in groups. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now tell me about your hardest class.
I don't know.
Well, I noticed that you were struggling a bit in math this year, and in the past you've done really great in math. Did something change this year?
I don't know.
So Emma, I know it might be hard to talk about, but the more you can tell me about math, the more I can help you.
Well, sometimes my teacher talks really fast, and it's hard for me to write everything down.
So does she write a lot of problems and notes on the whiteboard?
Lots and lots of stuff.
Okay. And what else is hard about math?
My homework is hard because we have to write down how we found the answers.
And is it hard to write down and explain how you found the answer?
Kinda, because we have to read from the math book and then write down how we found the answer. And my teacher says we have to use the same words that the math book uses.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, math is hard because you have to use the same words from the textbook to explain your answers, and that's really hard. And it's also really hard to take lots and lots of notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Emma. This is really helpful. Have you heard of the term accommodation?
I don't know.
Well, an accommodation is another way to help you learn your lessons better. You know how you were saying it's really hard to think of the answers and explain them from using words from the textbook?
Yeah.
Well, we might be able to find another way to help you. For example, instead of just reading the textbook, you might be able to listen to a recording while you're reading it. An accommodation is just like that. It's another way to help you learn what you need to learn better. And also, we might be able to find a way to help you when the teacher's talking really fast and you're having trouble taking notes. You like to work on the computer, right?
Yeah, can I work on the computer more?
Well, we might be able to find a way for you to follow your assignments and take notes on the computer. Why don't we talk more about it, and we'll make a list of accommodations that might be helpful for you. Okay?
All right. All right. I know it's the same question, but what did you observe now that student is here? All right. Thank you guys. Gabby. I mean, Marty. Gosh. Oh, I need coffee. All right.
I just wrote that it seems like the student enjoys hands-on activities and assignments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was what I was trying to write.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good observation. Let's go to Gabby.
I saw that like for Emma, it was harder for her to talk about what classes she's struggling in than it was for her to talk about the classes that she actually likes and stuff like that. It just kind of shows that like maybe sometimes students don't even know why their hardest class is their hardest class.
That's right. That's right. And it's also, there's a trust thing there, right? I mean, do I trust this teacher if I tell her that I'm struggling with math because the teacher wants this and that, right? It's a matter of trust too. All right, Lupe.
I basically repeated what Marty said, that the student likes to be like hands-on and interactive. She probably gets bored of like listening to the teaching and would rather interact with the lesson.
Yep, that's right. All right, but it's so nice to be able to just talk to the student herself. Okay, guys, we're getting there. We're probably gonna skip the other questions, but let's see what happens to Emma.
Why don't we start with introductions? As you all know, I'm Jerry Johnson, and I'm the school principal here.
I'm Danielle Adams, Emma's special education teacher.
I'm Emma.
I'm Kathy Rogers, Emma's mother. Lisa Coleman, Emma's math teacher.
The purpose of this meeting is to talk about accommodations that may help Emma during classroom instruction. We also want to prepare for the state test in the spring. It's good that we're meeting early to get this all sorted out.
I agree. I spoke with Emma last week about her classes. She said she's having particular difficulty with math this year, even though she's been a good math student in the past. We talked about accommodations that might help her during math. Emma, do you want to share what we talked about?
Like listening to my math?
Exactly.
We talked about listening to my math book on the computer, and I want to do that.
So Lisa and I have been working together on this, and she's working on ordering an audio version of the text.
So you said this is an accommodation. How would that work?
Well, Emma would be able to listen to an audio version of the text in her math book. This may help her to understand better. Some of the math vocabulary in the textbook is difficult, and we don't want that interfering with Emma's learning.
Yeah, we've also talked about possibly providing a read-aloud accommodation during classroom tests.
So what would this look like?
Well, a paraprofessional or a resource teacher like Danielle would read the test questions to Emma aloud. We could try this on her weekly quizzes.
Then we would collect data to see if the accommodation is working. How does everyone feel about this? We could try reading the test items aloud on her math quizzes to see if it works.
I think we should try. What do you think, Emma?
Okay.
We should keep this accommodation in mind as we think about the upcoming state test. Also, I know that the read aloud accommodation is permitted on the mathematics assessment.
All right. There is a solution for Emma. This is an amazing thing. I'm not going to let you guys do that. We're running out of time. Oh, bad. Do you guys have time for time to climb? All right, we did Valentine's last time. Underwater, Himalaya, or space?
Let's do Valentine's again.
Ooh, we are in February, Valentine's time. Okay, all right. Oh, there. And I love the music on this one. There she is, Lupe. All right, I love that character. All right, let's get started.